These are the top 10 reasons why the FMS Ranger is the best beginner plane. Let's go. Let's talk durability. I have slammed this plane into the ground, into other things a heap of times, and it just does not care. You could quite literally smash this thing into the ground and then throw it back in the air and it will just keep flying because it does not care. Jeez, I'm spitting bars. Anyway, it is such a durable plane, and it is very, very good for beginners because when I was flying the Ranger for the first time, I had crashed into the ground so many times from sensitive elevators and stuff, and it just did not care. It was surviving things that RC planes probably shouldn't survive.
I have no steering room.
The FMS Ranger basically flies on easy mode. Like, genuinely, you could hand this thing to someone who's never touched a plane before and they'd still look like they know what they're doing. It's stupid stable, doesn't randomly try and end its own life midair, and it just kind of floats around like it's got nothing better to do. You barely even have to fly it. It corrects itself half the time, let go of the sticks for a second, it's not immediately plotting its demise. It just levels out and keeps cruising like a chill NPC. Want to just relax and do smooth circuits? Easy. Want to try some basic aerobatics like loops or rolls? It'll do it without throwing a tantrum or snapping out of the sky. It's super forgiving too. Mess up a turn or come in a bit sketchy and it's like, yeah, alright, we'll survive this. And the slow flight is actually ridiculous. This thing can crawl through the air like it forgot it has a motor, which makes learning way less stressful. You've got so much time to think instead of just panicking and overcorrecting everything. It's the kind of plane that makes you feel way better at flying than you actually are. You'll be out there thinking you're some pro pilot when really the Ranger is just doing 90% of the work and letting you take all the credit. Another reason I really like the FMS Ranger is because even though it's a beginner plane, it looks so good. Especially in the air, you can get a green, red or yellow version and all three of them look amazing in the sky. Most trainers do what they're meant to, train pilots, and that's really good of them, but they just look horrible. For example, the Aero Scout. I mean, sure, it's a great trainer, flies amazing, but it looks like a bunch of drunk toddlers designed that thing. Coming back to the Ranger, it just looks incredible. I think it's supposed to look like a Cessna 152, especially on floats. Everything is scale, all the proportions are right, the decals don't stand out too much, and they sort of blend in with the whole plane really well. People have put light kits in them and everything, but honestly, I think it looks good enough to just not even bother with a light kit. Especially on floats, it just looks incredible. The Ranger is just such a beautiful looking plane, and it is also such a beautiful trainer. The next reason I love the FMS Ranger is because it comes with a reflex gyro. If you don't know what a gyroscope is, it's pretty much a tiny co-pilot that flies with you at all times. If you're flying the plane and decide to turn, it won't let you fully roll over. It will keep your bank limit to a certain angle to stop you from rolling over. And if you let go of the sticks, the plane instantly levels out and corrects itself. You can turn off the gyro if you want to do tricks and stuff, but it's great for just flicking back on if you get into a fix, and it's as simple as flicking a switch, having the gyro enabled. All the FMS Rangers come with a gyro, whether it's ready to fly, plug and play, bind and fly, and the gyro is equipped with 3 modes. The first mode is optimized mode, and that keeps the plane from banking over too sharp and keeps it level at all times. The second one is wind correction, where you can do whatever you want with the plane and it's just going to try and help combat the wind, which the Ranger already does really well. And the third mode is just completely off. You can do whatever you want with the plane, and I can guarantee you it will still fly amazingly. Another reason I love the FMS Ranger is that it can come ready to fly, and they mean it. It includes the floats if you want them, the transmitter, the receiver, the battery, the charger, the plane, everything. Not many planes do that these days, and it's such a helpful thing for beginners that might not know what receivers and transmitters you can get with the plane. It's a great thing that it can come ready to fly, and the assembly process is even better. I set my Ranger up in about 10 minutes without any drama, and I got the plug and play version though. If you want the whole deal, it might set you back about $300, but it is so worth it once you get your Ranger in the air for the first time. Having a ready to fly plane is such a minor thing, but it's also such a great thing for noob pilots that just want to get their first beginner plane. The next reason that I love the Ranger is that it is such a forgiving plane. You could quite literally cut the throttle and pull back as hard as you can for a landing, and I can guarantee you it will come in beautifully and smoothly, and it won't even stall because it's such a versatile and great flyer. The high wing design optimizes the amount of lift the plane can get, and it's also really good at preventing stalls, especially in those base to finals when you're setting up for an approach. Having a trainer that flies this amazing and is pretty much unstallable is such a great thing to have for new pilots, and that's another great reason as to why I love the FMS Ranger for beginners. Now, taking off the FMS Ranger and actually getting it into the air is something you will not have a problem with. Because it's a STOL plane, STOL, which stands for short takeoff and landing, it can literally get in the air within 3 meters, and probably even quicker if you face it towards the wind with a decent battery. As I was saying before how it's unstallable, those giant big high wings give it so much lift that the plane gets up in no time. Honestly, sometimes the plane gets in the air before you even expect it to start rolling down the runway. Having a plane that takes off easy is such a great thing for new pilots, because honestly most crashes do happen within takeoff and landing, and knowing that your Ranger is going to get into the air with no problems just puts you at peace of mind. Now the landings. The FMS Ranger can land just as good as it takes off, and one of the easiest ways you can beautifully land your FMS Ranger is just cut the throttle and pull back fully. Those high wings just give it so much lift that it glides in so easily and doesn't usually stall on landing. Just remember to keep your airspeed up slightly so you don't actually stall. You only need about 5% throttle to keep it in the air anyway, because it's such a floaty plane. Even with the draggy floats, landing on water is so beautiful because it comes in smoothly, and taxiing on the water is even cooler. Now, even though the FMS Ranger is a trainer plane, it is completely capable of mild and intermediate aerobatics, including inverted flight, rolls, loops, and other things like that. I've gotten pretty comfortable flying without a gyro for short periods of time when doing loops and rolls and inverted flight, and the Ranger, even though it's a high wing trainer, it can perform most tricks that you throw at it pretty easily. Those wings and plenty of power with a 1-to-1 power to weight ratio, which is insane, gives it plenty of power for instantly climbing up into a loop and climbing out of inverted flights. It's such a great plane to learn to fly on, and then to learn how to do tricks on once you've advanced to that level of flight. Now, when I'm talking about customization, I'm talking about that the Ranger is actually very, very easy to modify. Now, besides it also having optional floats, which is great for flying off water if you're sick of flying on land, there is plenty of space in the front compartment for housing batteries and stuff if you want to put a bigger battery in it, and there's also plenty of room for mounting a bigger motor in it as well, which is what people sometimes do. There's also some spots to put light systems on it, which is great if you want to really make that Ranger look scale, and it just flies so well that you can actually add a surprising amount of weight, up to 250 grams. Those are the main reasons I completely love the FMS Ranger and think it's such a good beginner plane, and if this hasn't convinced you to buy one or get it as your first beginner plane, I don't know what will. I really appreciate you watching, and please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one. Have an amazing rest of your day.
Took off that way.
Roll the outro.